In today's video, I'm going to show you my complete Nvim setup, which I'm using for my working purpose, and I'm really amazed. I'm really satisfied by this by this setup of Nvim. It really helps me to uh, propagate and write my code. Sometimes I have to like move into one directory to another directory. I have to look a lot of files. Also, I like some cool color scheme. So in this video, I'm going to show you and going to explain you step by step how I customize my Nvim setup. Already I make 3 videos in this purpose. In the first video, I discuss how in the general purpose, how I customize my setup for basically for the color scheme for Nvim. This video you can see somewhere here. And there is another video I make where I show how I use some of the plugins just to give you an overview how one can use some plugins. So this video also you can see here. And there is another video I show more than 30, I call it amazing plugins, which make your programming experience really extraordinary. So those are the very short videos, but in today's video, I'm going to show you the full and complete setup, which I'm I'm right now using for my Nvim setup. So this video will be a bit of a longer one, but I'm for sure it will be very helpful for you. So please stay tuned and follow my step. And I'll give all possible information in the description so you can go and check it. There are a lot of GitHub repository. I'm also give it in my description. You can use those GitHub repository. You can read those. There are a lot of information you can find out, and those could be very helpful for you for sure, and it will make your experience better. So let's start. Okay. So let me remind you what I discussed in the previous few videos. So I first go to my .config directory, and in my .config directory I create one directory called Vim. Let me show you what I have in here. So one thing I have in this directory, I create one file called init.lua and one directory called lua. So let me show you the full setup first and how my recent Vim setup look like. So if I open not Vim, Nvim init.lua. So this is the current kind of plugins I'm using basically. And let me show you one amazing thing. I can press E. This is basically some of the plugins I'm using right now. Okay, so I just pressed space E. So here you can see in the left side, there is a kind of, it's called tree, which is basically looks like a VS Code. So I am right now in this config npm directory. I can move, so I can just simply come to this init lua, which is already open on the left side. So I can move back to this directory. Let's open this lua directory. So in this lua directory, I create another directory called bongphysics. I can I can see what is there in this bongphysics directory. So there's few files. One of them is code, plugins, and plugin setup. In the very first video, I show you here about this color scheme. So I'll show you how I make this. This is not the usual one. You have to customize your Nvim, which is not the default one. So I'm going to show you how I customize my Nvim. So it's really working friendly. So it will really help you to when you're writing some code. So I can see what was there in this color scheme.lua. So So if you remember, I already discussed this in one of the video, which you can click here and see about. So I am basically use one color scheme, which is called Nightfly. So this is one of the color scheme I use. And whenever I write any kind of Lua file here, at the same time, I have to call it in my uh, init.lua file. And here basically this is the one which I just show you, this core color scheme.lua. So this is all in the code directory. So this is about, okay, this is about this file. So whenever I write any kind of Lua file, that I have to call in this init. So it will be basically initialize your all this setup, whatever you are doing. Then in the next video, I saw about the plugins. So if I just come back here, so this was my plugin setup. So I just last time saw around 30 plugins, which I am right now using. So I am going to discuss today about all 30 plugins, how they're working. Not all, maybe some of them, which is important, I feel like. So one thing you have to keep in remember that whenever we need some kind of plugins, we have to first put that particular GitHub repository in the plugin setup. And one of the important one for Nvim is the packer, which basically install your all plugins. So this is the part which this basically do this auto installation of all your packages or whatever. If it is not installed, it will be installed automatically. And this is about, for this, there is a auto command or load any kind of Nvim files. This is the one thing. And whenever you write kind of thing, then you have to always import this packet. So here I write this additional Lua file, which I call like plugin setup.lua. And then if I go back to my initial directory, this is the first command I used here in this init.lua. So whenever we write any kind of Lua file, that have to initialize here. Okay, so let me show you some of this plugin setup once again. Okay, so here I had some plugin for, so this is the first plugin for Packer, which we used for install some of the plugins. This is the one thing. So this is basically a GitHub repository. And then the second thing is about plenary Nvim. So this basically kind of content of all Lua functions. The second thing is about, third thing is about the color scheme, which I'm going to, which I showed here. So for this is for this color scheme. And also now I'm going to the, so here you can see, okay, there is one planning video about this Tmax where I am going to merge Vim and Tmax. So this basically help you to splitting the window. I'm going to show some of the shortcut in when I talk about this keymap.lua. Then there is something called, there is one particular plugin for maximize or restore your current setup or current windows. Maybe I can zoom a bit so you can read these comments. Yeah. Now this is very some essential plugins. It is about Vim surroundings. You can add, delete, or make some changes, and it will be really very important one. It will be a helpful one. And there is another plugin I use called replace with is in-cart Vim replace with register. This is also very essential, very important one. Now the first thing I'm going to show is about this DC comment. So if you remember here, whenever I want to comment out some line, I basically use this double dash. Now here I am basically use one plugin called comment.nvim. Let me show you how we can use some of the plugins whenever we want it. So here I added one plugins. So I just do it, save it, And if I do that, simply save. So if you add some of the plugins, you can show here it's shown some of the plugins instead, but here in my case, all the plugins are up to date. So if you just simply add some plugins, save it, you can the left in this panel, you can see some of them will be saved. And then just press Q, then I will quit. Okay. Then I'll show you how I wrote this, how I use this comment.vim. So I come back to this plugin directory. Here I wrote one file or one particular Lua file called comment.lua. If I click on this, so here I just import some of the comment plugins, which is already saved. Like we call this local setup comment, recall, require comments. If not set up, then return, and then enable this comment. And whenever, as I mentioned, whenever we wrote any kind of Lua file, we have to initialize it in this initial. Let me show where I use this one. Yes, this one, this is one of the plugin I used. So this Lua file. So I initialize it, I save it. So in this case, I already save it. So let me show you how it works. So if I want to make some comment out part, let's consider this line. So if I go back to once again this plugin setup, yeah. So now we can make some comment with GC or GCC. So let me show you how we can use. Let me show you here. Suppose I want to comment out this particular line, right? So I use space GCC. So it will comment out. It will commented. If I want to comment out this line, so I can space GCC. Suppose I want to, if I come back to here, I want to comment next to line. So I space G, C, 2, J. So it will comment out next few lines. Again, I do the same thing. It will come back to the previous one or uncommented. So this is one of the very easy setup. So this is just I use it. I use some plugins here, and then I just save it, put into this initial.lua file, and I can use that particular comment. Now the next thing, the very important one. Let me go back to once again the plugin setup.lua. This is about Nvim tree. Again, it is the same one. So this is basically for this one, this purpose. You can see I had created some tree. I can just, as I saw, I can just come back here. I can open any one of the file. I can create some file, and everything is possible. So thanks to this file exporter. So we call this the file exporter. And so this file exporter basically export your, basically this one, where you can just, it is very comfortable, right? You don't need to every time go out, save some file, open some particular directory. You don't need to go out. You can just basically use this file exporter, and it make your life really easier. Okay, so what we did, we create one file exporter. So this is one of the plugin we used. So this is just basically a GitHub repository for Nvim tree. Now we wrote one Lua file. Let me see what is there in this Lua file. So this is, I'll put this one in the description box, so you can, maybe you don't need to worry about much. So this is basically very standard setup. Also, I give you one of the GitHub repository I'm following, which is basically a very nice one. It is made by one YouTuber. And unfortunately I forgot the name, but I give you the description in the give you the link in the description. He really make it amazing. I basically follow his setup. I also make some modifications by myself, but most of the setup I use using from his GitHub repository. So here you can see I wrote one particular, not wrote, but this is basically a Lua file for Nvim tree. And whenever I wrote, as I mentioned, whenever I wrote any kind of Lua file, I have to initialize it. And here, which one is that? Nvim tree. Yeah. So initially save it, and you can create this this tree. Now here I want to show you one thing. Now from here I will start to discuss about Keymaps. This is very interesting one. Usually Nvim has some default Keymaps, default keyboard settings, but you can customize your own keyboard settings, because whenever we write some programming, we used to use the keyboards mostly, not mouse. So let me come back here, open this keymap.lua. So here there is another Lua file for Keymaps. I will explain this, but before that, let me show you. I wrote one keymaps.lua. I open this init.lua. Here, it is within this core file. Yeah, it is within the core file, and this one, keymap.lua. So this is, now let me show you some of the very basic keymaps which I am using right now. This is also following from this GitHub. So here the first thing is need to understand one thing is called leader key. So usually in Nvim, backspace is your leader key, but here you can set up your own leader key. Like here we call this Vim G map leader, and it is space, because space is very easy to access. So this is one of the leader key I used. Then for conciseness, we define this keymap as a vim.keymap. Now the first thing is, this is one of the comments which I particularly don't like, but okay, here you can see within this bracket, this I for whenever I write an I, it is for the, it's mean that this keymap is used for the inserted mode, and this inserted mode means can just simply press I, then you can use this command. And this N for normal mode, you can go to the escape, and that will be your normal mode. So usually, if we go back, particular this code I don't like, but here I can basically just simply comment. It's called GCC. But this comment, this command basically means whenever you are in the inserted mode, you can go to the escape mode by pressing J and K. Okay, but the problem is that if you keep it this command, then you cannot type JK. So I just basically don't like this particular keymap, so I comment it out. Okay, the second thing is, suppose you had some highlights. So you searching some, let's search keymaps. Okay, and so I'm searching some word like keymaps. Now you can see those are in the highlighted mode. And I don't like this kind of highlighted whenever writing code. So what I have to do, so it will be the normal mode. So right now I'm in the normal mode, not in inserted mode. So I have to press leader. In my case, leader is the space and NH. So let's space this one, leader NH. So this all highlight is gone. So this is basically very handy one. You can use whatever the keymap you usually use to write in the code. Like here, if I want to remove all the highlights, usually we write like dash NHOL. So no highlight lines. Okay, so this is one of the keymap just to make your programming experience more better, more easy one. The second keymap, it is in the normal mode. We use X to remove something, and with the previous register word. The second thing is about increment and decrement. Suppose you wrote something here, that consider 5, 8, right? I'm going to the normal mode. I'm on this word. I space leader space and positive. No, I have to space shift plus 1. Sorry. On this word space shift plus. So this basically increment or decrement some of the number if you have. So this is basically the comment in the normal mode. And the next thing about the splitting the window. So here, usually we write like W. If I just simply comment W, it will split your window. But here I basically like to use some kind of keymaps. It is a normal mode. I can space. I can type leader SB. It basically split the window vertically. Let's see what will happen. leader SB. So it's split it in the vertically. And if I want to close it, I'll space leader SX. It will be closed, leader SX. So this basically close the current splitting window. So wherever your cursor is, that's current window. If you want to close it, just type or you just use space SX, which is a leader key. And you can also um, create one window horizontally, space SH. Oh no, sorry. I make something. Okay. Space SH. So it basically create here. And you can move Control J, K. You can move J, K. You can move from one window to another window. Let me go back to K, J, and close it. Leader SX. So this, and also suppose you have two windows opening, one of them you can just move it, like you can move your windows like this way. And you can, if you want to make it like equal width, then just type leader SX. Okay, so this is about the window. Now also you can open some tab. So for that I'm using some of this keymap for create some new tab. Like I can, so it is a normal mode. I can type leader key, then TO, leader key, TO. So it creates some new window. Okay, and then you can close the TE by pressing TX. You can close some of the current tab. You can go to the next tab by pressing TN. Let's see, leader tab, TN. I came to the, and if I go to the previous one, leader tab, TP. Come back to the, so this is kind of some of the very important and very basic key maps which we are using. The second thing, which is very important one, right now here you can see, yeah. So now I'm using some of the how to uh, keybind some of the plugins using these key maps. So here one of the key maps for this toggle. But if you want to make it like maximizer your toggle, just go to leader key ASM. Oh no, I make something wrong. Leader key SM. So you can just remove your toggle or tree or file exporter. And if you want to create it back, for that there is a, so anytime you can create and open some of the file exporter. So in this case, this window basically maximize. All the other are not showing. And now, but now you can see there is I my file exporter is somehow vanished. So okay, first thing I can try with equal width. Does it work? Let's see. No, it is not working. So now let's, if I, so for that I create one more key maps to open or close this toggle or file exporter, just leader E. So I just close the previous one which was open. Now I'm opening. So this is just, you don't need to go, okay, there is one way you can just simply type nvim tree toggle, that also open this file, or you can just simply type or simply space and it will be open here, this this file exporter. Okay, that's cool. So also you can use mouse or you can use some of the comments. Okay, that is one of the very good thing about this Nvim. Okay, now this is very important one, a very exciting one. It is about the telescope. That very helpful, and I'm really fascinating about it. So before to go to the telescope, let me show you my plugin setup. Okay. Okay, so also one more thing, I added some of the plugins. It's called, yeah, this one. It's called Viet code like icons. So now if you look into this one, the default one, if you don't use these plugins, those kind of this kind of icons will be not there. And but if we use this plugin, you can see some of the icons which is look like a VS Code. So that basically make your walking experience more better, because you feel like, okay, I'm in Nvim, but the text shade look like some ID. That's great. The other thing also I added here, it is called status line. So this is one of the plugin status line. And for this, I wrote one, this one, Lua line. I wrote one Lua file. Let me open it. So this is basically, you can, I give all the information in the GitHub, or you can take it from the GitHub. This is basically generate your all. So this is basically modify your particular this status line. So this is also just to get you more feeling about the programming. Okay, let me open it again once again. Once again. Okay, so this is about the telescope. So I use these two plugins. One is called Nvim telescope from this GitHub repository, both for the Nvim telescope. One for okay, one for this, which basically make your dependency on for better sorting performance. And okay, let me show you how does this work. Okay, before that, let me okay. So there is one Lua file called telescope.lua. Okay, so here there's two import file, one for this telescope setup, and our other thing is called action setup. What kind of action or configuration we use? One is CK to action. So if you want to move to the previous result, move to the next result, and if you want to quit. Okay, and whenever we write some telescope Lua, we have to initialize it. So we initialize it here, Monkfish plugin and telescope, and then go back to Keymaps. So there are some of the Keymaps I mentioned here. One thing is, okay, so let me show you how the telescope works. So right now I'm in this file. Okay, if I trying to open some of the file, let me space my leader key, which is space and FF. So here you can see when we space FF, one window open up, and you can search some of the file you supposed looking for. Let's consider Keymap or whatever, initialize Lua, init Lua. So you can show you whatever, and I want to open this one. And let me do once again, leader ff init dot Lua. So you don't need to go somewhere, but you can just simply open it from here. So this is also a very interesting one of the this is one thing. And let me open my keymap once again. Okay, so this is about ff. Also I can show you if I press leader fs, and you can with this very live one, you can search something in it once again, dot Lua. Let's come here. Okay. And then so also finding find steering under the cursor in current working directory. So you can find some word. If you just press FC, you can find some word, something like, so this is for the find word. Let's search something like keymap. Is there some? No, maybe okay. Some of the word like use, you can search. Let's come back once again here. So I have replaced FC. Okay. So this is one thing. Then also you can list open the buffer in current Neovim instance. So if I press FB leader FB, so you can see all possible what to call in this buffer, whatever the possible availability. You can see, like, you can open some of this, something like this. Okay. And also you can list available help tags, FH. So you can see all of the possible help tags you can used. Also, you can see some of the information here. Like if I go back to here, FH, you can move and you can see some of the corresponding info. That also a very cool one. Okay. So this is basically very cool whenever you are working in a big project, you are trying to do something from different file or somewhere else, some words or something. So this telescope basically looking something for you. It's basically search kind of search engine for you. Okay. Also, you can use some of this more keymaps, like if I leader GC. So you can put some git commits from just you don't need to go to your terminal and write some git commit, but you can do some git commit from your uh, from this Nvim. Also, you can list of git commits for current file buffer, or you can make some kind of list of git branches, or you can make some kind of changes with different people. So this is for basically for the Git. Now there is one keymap also I wrote for. Before that, let me show you one more thing. If I go back to my plugins setup. Okay, so I talk about this one. So also I add some of this uh some of the what is called plugins for auto comparison that also you can use, and the corresponding and particularly I don't like this LSP, but I don't like I mean not want to talk in this video about LSP because it's need another half an hour. So I'm going to talk about LSP in later in some other video, and maybe there is one more one which could be discussed here. Okay, this is about, so I'm going to talk about LSP in that video. So there is one thing about auto closing and Git integration. So for this one, we use these plugins, and also we wrote some. Okay, one thing is Nvim tree setter. Yeah. So there is one particular tree setter we used. When I'll talk about LSP, I'll talk about details about this particular Lua file, because it needs some input from this LSP. So there is a possibility of second video, which will be quite also long, because I want to discuss in details about LSP. And also there is another file called auto pairs. So this is the file also we used, and this also be sometimes helpful for you. But the most important one is some of the keymaps I shown, some of these plugins I discussed, and I am 100% sure if you use this kind of plugins, because you can see how cool it is. Like there is something called getSign.lua, and this kind of stuff, like you can just simply move it from one file to another file. You can make your own keymaps. You can customize your whatever color you want here, or whatever the I will going to discuss in details about LSP, because it's need more point to discuss. So the basic idea about customize your Nvim is to follow the steps. So you have to create all this file in your .config directory, You have to just modify or customize your color scheme.lua, keymap.lua, option.lua, and you can add some plugins using the plugin setup. You can add your own Lua file to customize your plugins, and whatever you will do, you have to everything will be added here. So in the next one of the video, I'll talk about specifically LSP and how one can merge Vim with Nvim with Keymaps. So I hope you will like it, and I hope you understood at least the basic idea about customize Nvim. And so stay tuned, please. If you it, uh, like it, share it, and maximum you can subscribe it. See you in the next video.